all those games has, skins, and today Counter-Strike have opened, so you actually have a skin market. But beforehand, you actually needed to, trade accounts. In NFTs, we get the like true ownership of that, because I can, instead of selling you my whole account, I can sell you this wicked ass knife for Counter-Strike. The most important thing is, if I then get banned by Counter-Strike, I wouldn't lose all my assets, my 2 years, 5 years, 10 years of, gaming.
I live unbanked off of cryptocurrency, and I use Bitrefill extensively because it lets me pay with crypto at places that don't yet accept it directly. This one service, more than any other, helps me live on crypto, pay your prepaid phone bill, or buy gift cards to thousands of major retailers around the world, all with cryptocurrency, including for exact amounts so you don't have to buy more gift credit than you need for a specific purchase. You can use Bitrefill without an account, but if you get an account, you can earn rewards points, which translate to savings, and you can also hold a balance denominated in dollars or euros to protect yourself against market crashes. Go to bitrefill.com, click Create Account, and enter the referral code DCN, or follow the link in the description. Hey everyone, I have the fantastic pleasure today of speaking with the one and only DanishCrypto. How's it going?
Hello, hey, and thanks for having me on here. Let's see what the day can bring. So
Yeah. Well, just really quick before we dive into things, do you mind telling people a little bit about your background and kind of what you do in the crypto space?
yeah, sure. I've done a lot. I've been in the crypto space for around 10 years now. I've worked with a majority of projects, mainly as a community supporter or community management and promotion. Um, I've worked with pre-search since launch, decentralized search engine. Uh, I've worked with Motacoin, cannabis-related projects, basically since their launch. I've helped the Nano community quite a bit. Also, when they branched over to make their meme coin, Banano, I also helped there a good bit. And in the last 2.5 years, I went NFT crazy, because I actually wanted to make a membership NFTs for the first 150 members we were getting in the Motacoin Telegram chat. And then I realized that even at that time, that would have cost me more than $1,100 just to mint NFTs for a fun project, for something I wanted, not something the project necessarily was pointing me at.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a bit too much. And suddenly I saw Ken Bosak doing an interview with some guys on Wax, and saw like NFTs being minted pretty damn cheap. And since then, I jumped over and basically have been working full time on Wax projects. I'm also ESB queen for the Scandinavian and English Beehive, which is a EOS promotion team. So yeah, that's a little bit about what I've been doing and still are doing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the NFT crazy thing is kind of it's kind of an interesting topic because from the outside perspective, a lot of people don't really understand what NFTs are. They think that they're buying, a picture, like an ugly picture or something, or it's an artwork or something, and that's it. And a lot of people, probably in the crypto space who've been in there for a while, seem to disregard NFTs a little bit as some sort of like a money grab. And so when people see someone saying like, "Oh, I went crazy over NFTs," a lot of people might assume that that means they went just crazy over the prospects of making a lot of money off of them, but that there's not really substance behind that. And so, really quick, what's the value you see in NFTs beyond just a digital collectible?
For one, if you ever seen or played a lot of games, World of Warcraft, RuneScape, Counter Strike, all those games has skins, and today Counter Strike have opened, so you actually have a skin market. But beforehand, you actually needed to trade accounts, which suddenly you're trading whatever you have on that account and not just that one little skin you want to give somebody else. Um, in NFTs, we get the like true ownership of that, because I can, instead of selling you my whole account, I can sell you this wicked ass knife for Counter Strike. That goes for the market for $10,000, even though they're not NFTs. But if you made them NFTs, they could get like decentralized, because we can take them out of the game. I can have them in my own personal wallet. I can put this special one over to vault. So mint one of this knife now is, instead of having it in an account I'm playing with, I'm having it locked up somewhere. And the most important thing is, if I then get banned by Counter Strike, by Steam, uh, Valve, then I wouldn't lose all my assets, my 2 years, 5 years, 10 years of gaming. And then we come into the metaverse aspect of what everybody has been talking about, at least the last year or so. That if it's NFT based, anyone in the world can take that NFT and import it into their game, their whatever they're using, because it's on the blockchain, it's available for everyone. I can take crypto kitties right now and implement them into my game. So if you hold a crypto kitty, now you get X amount of powers and whatever in my game. And the creators can't stop me. Nobody can stop me.
Yeah.
That's a metaverse bridge aspect that many people don't really see. The greatest example we have for something I can just point at is Ready Player One,
Yeah.
the movie. They actually do a pretty great job at showing this NFT and real world binding. But when it comes to utility, for like we see now on Wax, we have the project Taco, which is a utility combining app. They started as a way you could control your Wax wallet. So you can log in with your cloud wallet, and you could then swap easy on there. Then they added NFTs as small taco sauces, which is a fun little aspect. But they unlock different tools in the app. So if you're using the decentralized exchange Alcor and doing liquidity pools, then the Alcor sauce is just for you. And as soon as you have that in your wallet, that service is unlocked in the app. Utility, perfect utility, and it works. But there is a majority of people there's jumping on this to create art and what you call money grab. And of course there is anytime there's a chance to be made money by doing as little as possible, people are jumping on it.
Yeah.
But the things we see really working and making like a user base and having some kind of longevity in total are the ones that has some kind of utility. And that's also an aspect that many people like don't understand, because either they think that the art needs to be amazing and the utility needs to be great, you can actually have shitty art with great utility, because the utility is actually what matters in the most cases. Because of course, to have something pretty in the wallet is not to be underestimated in any way, because it's nice to have something pretty to look at. But if you like, many people don't like when I say this, but NFTs are only worth what somebody is willing to pay for it.
Yeah, which sounds like an obvious thing to say, right? Everything is only
Yes,
worth what people are willing to pay for it.
exactly. But we have this again, the with normal cryptocurrency, the market we have put up is a swap base. So it's always possible to swap your currency for something else at the price that it's supposedly at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where with NFTs, I can put an NFT up for $10, but if somebody puts it up at $11, maybe somebody didn't buy mine even though mine is cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
because they need to find it. They also need to buy it. It's like going into two different grocery stores, even though it's all in one market.
Yeah, it makes the fungible aspect, it makes it non-fungible, right? They're not all the same as each other.
Exactly. And that's also where mint numbers in some cases play a huge role. If you can get a mint one of something and that project gets huge,
Mm-hmm.
then you're probably sitting on a gold mine. Um, because again, like, there is also Alien Worlds NFTs on Wax. You probably heard of it. It's one of the biggest crypto
Mm-hmm.
games in the world at the moment,
Yeah.
even though there is honestly not much gameplay to it, but it's functioning. Their lands, for example, went for $20 a pack, where you could get like open a pack and get a random chance of a common land to a mythic land. Today, the cheapest common land is around $8,000.
Wow.
And that no matter the mint number.
Yeah, I'm sure. So some of that has to be a lot more expensive than just 8,000 too.
If you want a rare land or a legendary land, yeah, we are talking 30,000, 100,000.
Wow, that's
It's
like
not cheap anymore, and
that's what
that
physical
started
land.
like 1.5 year ago. That was $20, and it's insane. Uh,
Yeah, and so that's something that's definitely going to take a lot of people time to adjust to over time is the concept of digital property. Already, you have people with cryptocurrency that don't really understand how something digital, like a digital currency, could be owned by someone. But then you have digital property that, to a lot of people's mind, is kind of imaginary, but it's not. It exists in certain ways,
it's a
you know?
gamified way of looking at stocks in a game company.
Hmm.
Because instead of you just boringly enough having 10 stocks in whatever gaming company, now you have your property that you maybe can do something on. That's at least
Hmm.
like the dream of the many of the metaverses out there, that you actually can do something on your land, like rent something out or build something, and in that way make it a little more special. But that's basically your share in the game company, because when the game makes revenue, you make revenue on that
Hmm.
land. So it's a new way of thinking of that. And personally, as a gamer and always been a gamer, all that, like, the fact that you can kind of say you're playing with money, it's
Hmm.
really fun, because it's not as serious as actually playing with money, even though the amount of money you sometimes are throwing around are actually more than you probably would have in real life. Um,
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. One thing that I think a lot of people don't really understand also is we do have something approaching digital real estate and other things. Like, for example, whenever you run like a Twitter ad, a promoted Twitter, it's a piece of the Twitter Commons that you get to rent for that period of time. And so something, even though it's not necessarily a game, it's an incredibly valuable public communication square. And if you had the one, like a random like NFT, for if you could actually buy that space, and just whoever owns the NFT to that space gets to display what they want on it, that's kind of a
It's
similar type thing.
it's kind of amazing. Yeah, there are already games out there on Wax where it's possible. One is Galactic 123.
Mm-hmm.
Really simple MMO game where you have travel space and land on planets, kind of like Alien Worlds, but there's more gamification to it. But
Mm-hmm.
when you land on a planet, then have information field about the planet, and people can customize that as they want to. So there can be links and referral links, whatever, um, and even upload some form of pictures to it. Then there are the Uplift world, which is a Minecraft extension. It's built on Minecraft,
Okay.
um, the Java edition. So you log in there and play around, and you can buy NFTs. There are land pieces for Minecraft, this Minecraft server, where if you hold the NFT, you can build on that property and do whatever you want. And they have a couple of different servers. Some of them are what is it called, survival mode, and some of them are creative. So if you buy a land in survival mode, you're gonna, hunt that area, or um, go trade with your neighbors to get what you need to build your thing on your plot, which is amazing. And then everybody running over it and so on, you make wax on.
Yeah.
It's fun aspects for small gaming that everybody actually in some way can be part of.
So we both mentioned Ken Bozak earlier, and he's kind of my connection to the NFT space, I have to say, because I've known Ken for a while. And while, a lot of people I think do not take him seriously because of the way he looks and acts, he's always like very real and astute. And so when people are talking about NFTs and stuff, all I saw were the Bored Apes, the Beeple one, like all these like super expensive Ethereum ones that, and I kind of at some point understood I needed to get into this space, but didn't like the idea of trying to mint something like on Ethereum was just a no-go for me, just way too expensive. And just, I can't make that work. And so Ken, of course, turned me on to Wax, which is why I'm like investigating and all that kind of stuff. So for you, why do you use Wax for NFTs instead of maybe a more popular network, or at least what people might think is more popular, such as like Ethereum or like
Popularity is one thing, and this is a harsh but easy question to ask. I have been in crypto for 10 years. I have been on the majority of blockchains out there. And Ethereum is great for a lot of aspects, and we wouldn't have been in the place we are at today in crypto if it hasn't been for Ethereum.
Mm-hmm.
But Ethereum can't handle what EOS.io brings to the table, and in that case, Wax. Wax is built for its world asset exchange. It's built to exchange assets online. So that's kind of like goes to say it's faster, it's cheaper, it's carbon neutral, and yeah, we don't, instead of fees on Wax, we have stake, which you stake to get more powers to use the network. But if you put in 100 wax on stake and you play some games and now it says you're out of CPU, you stop playing for a couple of hours and you can continue. And if you are actively voting on block producers on the network, or have set a proxy to do that, that's basically putting somebody else in charge of voting on which block producers on the network are doing good or bad stuff, like being stable, basically.
Yeah.
But if you have done that, then in 2 years you've played around with wax and you've done that, your 100 wax will now have been 130, 40, 50 wax, because you've voted and you've staked and you've not lost anything, and you've still been able to use the network. The only thing you might lose something on is if you create NFTs, because that requires RAM, because RAM should have been called hard disk space for it to make like perfect sense for a computer.
Yeah.
But your RAM is basically putting storage space to put NFTs up on the network. So you get a little more RAM when you burn the NFTs you have created, but not the full amount that you use to create them. Okay. So if you continuously are making NFTs, you would use more RAM. And that's the only thing you don't get back fully, even though you can sell RAM again later. If you bought for 10,000 wax RAM and figured out you only needed 1,000, you can sell the remaining 9,000 RAM or wax worth of RAM. So it's not throwing money out of the window like it often feels on Ethereum, Binance, Polygon, and so on. And again, I can't hate on those blockchains because they have all done amazing things, but all of them are failing. Because Binance Smart Chain, it only will cost you around a cent to do a transaction. It worked until they got traction.
Yeah.
And now it's $1 to $5, and Ethereum is for $20 to $250, and Polygon is already at 30 cents to $1. It fundamentally just don't work.
Yeah.
But they are all done amazing things in other aspects. But when they're trying to do, everything, it just don't work. So I'm a big fan, again, after like 2.5 years ago when I found wax and started looking into all this on EOS.io, I became like convinced that those kind of technologies here are superior to what I've been using. And I was a big no-go for EOS in the beginning because of block 1. So I was scared away from all that. But getting introduced to wax got me introduced to the system that is EOS.io and what that can do. And that is unbelievably amazing.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed is on activity sites, wax appears to be the most prolific blockchain. Maybe not. I don't think they track Solana at the moment, but wax is always.
It's also hard to track when it's going down all the time.
Yeah, which is it's gonna be funny if in like 5 years or something, Solana manages to be very universally used, very stable, super respected.
It could,
and then, but still, anyone talking about it from this era has to put in that little reference of it's not working.
If you can find anything from me talking about EOS 5 years ago, it would be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, getting into it, it's more the people that were running EOS. Today, the community is really starting to take EOS back, for example. And the EOS block producers has, the EOS Network Foundation has taken over the GitHub and throwing block 1 out of the bus. So there is happening a lot on there also. But if we just focus mainly on like the majority of the ESIO blockchain, they can do so much, and it's so easy to do, and even non codey nerdy people, developing people, can actually manage the most of this stuff, even though there isn't enough tools built for many of this yet. And we also saw that with Block One and EOS, there isn't many, known EOS wallets out there. And that was a major problem. But today we have a Shatter, and we have Anchor, and Token Pocket, and we have Starred US, and all of them are EOS, Wax, Telos, Proton compatible. And some of them is also multi-currency, so can have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tron, and so on. But that was a majority problem in the beginning, that Block One did majority funding and didn't really seem to be willing to build wallet for their awesome protocol. But again, they wasn't really lying, because under the crowdfunding, they said that they would build the ESIO network that would allow people to do whatever they wanted to do, and they did. But they just didn't do much more than that, which people kind of failed to see, that, hey, I'm giving you a way to do a fully decentralized thing. Now you need to go do your thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And people just sat and was waiting for Block One to do stuff. And now I'm part of the people trying to be there to get all those chains to do stuff. We've tried to get Wax up on more exchanges, and playing around with sub tokens on Wax. TLM, the Alien Worlds one, is on Wax, but it's also on Binance Smart Chain. But two different utilities on those tokens. One is main from when you mine on the game, and one is from when you do space missions with your aircrafts. So even though both are TLM, but the different chain tokens have different utilities in the game, which is also a bit confusing, but it's what you call it, a nice way to bring some more people in and reach out to a bigger audience, because Wax is a small blockchain still. We don't have as much like money and people and developers in as some of the bigger chains, but in the last 2 years, Wax has overtaken Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and Ethereum in daily transactions and active users. There are more smart contracts and stuff doing stuff that we can't calculate, but daily transactions on games and normal transactions, we do more than Ethereum. And active real people, we have more than Ethereum, and that's in 2 years of Wax taking off, because it works. If I should send you an NFT right now, if we're gonna do this live on here, if I send you a Ethereum NFT, is maybe gonna be there before we're done. If I send you a Wax NFT, we can throw it back and forth a couple 100 times before this podcast is done. And it will not cost us anything if we have Wax staked for resources. Then it will not cost anything.
So the resource model, you basically, from an economic perspective, you basically pre-buy capacity, and then once you have a capacity level, you can just use it at that capacity indefinitely. And so if you have a very like a limited amount of things you need to do, and you start running into capacity limits, you just have to wait, and then wait till the next day or whatever, and can use it.
Yeah, as long as it's not RAM. If it's RAM, you need more RAM, because you're creating either your own token on there or NFTs. all
Yeah.
of it needs hard disk space to work, and that's RAM.
Yeah. So RAM is the one, I guess, fee or gas fee kind of on the
Yeah, but
network, and
you can
everything.
still like sell the rest of what you have. Again, if you buy for 500 wax RAM right now and
Hmm.
only use 100, you can sell the remaining RAM. There's also a small trick to it. If you buy RAM when wax is cheap, you get more bytes per wax, more,
Hmm.
and you can sell that when wax goes up in price if you don't need it, because you get what the price of RAM is when you sell it, and you bought it at, yeah.
Yeah. But so,
There is a lot of small things, and I love the EOS change in general. All of them I haven't been much on Proton yet, but other than that, I'm, yeah, heavily involved in EOS, Wax, and Telos. I'm starting to get more involved on Telos. They are all doing amazing stuff.
yeah. So when, how much, obviously, so do you have any idea about what the average today, what the average NFT costs to mint on Wax? Because obviously it's a certain amount of RAM. And,
It's 140 kilobytes
hmm,
per NFT if it has two sides to it.
hmm. Yeah. And what does it
So
translate to?
roughly 0.02 wax or so per NFT.
Hmm, interesting. Let me see what that goes for as far as, so zero point 0.2 wax per NFT about right now, something like
Yeah,
that.
0.2 wax per
Yeah,
NFT.
so that's quite cheap, right? That's just a few cents or something like that, right?
Yeah, and that's maybe even on the high end, because again, if you buy RAM for 100 wax, you can probably make 10,000 NFTs if you not do it like straight away.
Yeah, of course. It's so that basically makes it, that does definitely make it more of a, like a utilitarian case, because with Ethereum, no one really cares if they spend a lot of money minting an NFT, because the expectation is their NFT is going to be able to be sold for a much higher price, and then they don't really mind that investment on that thing. But that kind of makes it into like a more speculative thing, rather than I just want something that can do a thing right now.
Yeah, it's a weird aspect in my mind, because if you
Mm-hmm.
look at them, and that's only taking data into the aspect, how many of the Ethereum NFTs sell, or for that matter, sell after being sold by the creator.
Mm-hmm.
The secondhand market on Ethereum NFTs are like mostly dead.
Mm.
It's it's happens like one time when the drop happens, somebody goes in and buys 10, and right after that, so they get two transactions on it. But also because of the price, again, nobody in their right mindset would sell an NFT for 5,000 if I just paid 10,000 for it.
Of course. Yeah, you just
uh,
hold on to it and keep praying.
yeah, where again, if you pay $1 for one and realize that you maybe only get 80 cents for it, or it's just not the same pressure. But again, like the Alien Worlds NFTs, if you have a good project or if you have good art, $100,000 per NFT are not impossible on Wax. Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
The Splinterlands land went for $125,000 uh, on Wax, and there there is a lot of those. So it's, yeah, I just find it's funny because again, we have more users, we have more um, community, real people being interactive on Wax, which give it this that the second-hand market really, kind of works itself. If you look at Ken Bosak's NFTs,
Yeah.
how many of them can you find where they have traded hands 10, 15, 100 times? A lot. And
Yeah.
every time somebody sells that NFT, he gets 3% or 5%, whatever his collection fee is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he maybe sold a dollar for, or an NFT for $1,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody sold it again for $1.10, and again and again. But instead of selling that one NFT for $100, then selling 100 NFTs for $1, and you suddenly, has a lot more people, a lot more chances that those go and sell them and go into another and another, and in that way build up your whole revenue model. And of course, on Ethereum, yeah, you can be really lucky that somebody buys your Ethereum rock for $250,000, and it's, yeah, sure. There is also a lot of them that's never moved,
Yeah.
like never. Um,
I've seen a few of those. I've seen a few.
like even the guy that bought the first tweet made on Twitter, their NFT framed thing from Jack Dorsey. He paid $16 million for an NFT that's worth not even a million on market right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like, what did you think? I'm blown away sometimes, and that's also why I definitely get why some people think it's money laundering.
Well, I'm sure
Because
it is too. I'm sure that happens as well.
again,
It
because
happens
that
with
was
physical
what you
art
would
too.
do if you wanted to, like, do something sketchy. Oh, I'm gonna pay X amount in tax, so now I'm gonna invest in this NFT, and then it's gonna bankrupt me, and now I can do whatever you do with tax and get payment
Mm-hmm.
back and whatever. I definitely see that could be with some of those bigger numbers NFTs,
Mm-hmm.
and it's sad, but we still get mails about the Nigerian prince. So where there's money, there's scammers and cheaters and people that are trying to jump the fence where it's lowest.
Yeah, that's for sure. Crypto's, because it's so free, it's full of that. But let's talk about the specifics. Like, we're talking about technical specifics of the NFT. So obviously, like with the cryptocurrency, basically the information is, it's owned, like the token is owned by this address, and then has like a transaction history, and there's like very little extra data to it. Now the NFT, obviously you have that sort of thing, and then you have some metadata, the one which most people's minds, the metadata is the JPEG, right? The reference to an image somewhere. So um, what are the kind of metadata that can be embedded into an NFT that you know of, or at least as far as Wax is concerned?
On Wax, it's actually, there's really no limits, because we have, it's not easy, but there is a way to put immutable and mutable data into NFTs, which
Mm-hmm.
means that it can be changed after you buy it, some parts of the NFT. It could be, if you code it right, the picture. So the longer you hold the NFT in your wallet, the older a guy gets, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or, for example, like GNO City gnomes,
Mm-hmm.
little card games where you fight gnomes.
Mm-hmm.
When you upgrade that, the level is on the transmutable data. The uh, stats, so how much damage you can do and all that, updates on there, along with how many times your gnome has lost or won a match. So if I
Interesting.
go in and sell my gnome now, you'd see that has been fighting 200 times and won only 40 of them, or something like that. So that's on there on the NFT. And that's one of the things that can change and be like that. And the other part you were talking about with just the JPEG part is the IPFS. And it's here, it actually is really important that people understand what they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Because on OpenSea, they host the IPFS for you. If you just, there is this Dropbox, you throw it up, your picture up, and it takes it in and all that. Then they host your IPFS. It's nothing bad to do with that. It's a great service. Atomic Hub on Wax do the same. But if you, as a user, buy an NFT worth a lot of money or something you just value a lot, you should go and take that hash on the NFT and search that and upload or pin that in a IPFS host like Pinata Cloud or otherwise. So you pin that hash yourself. That's basically like when people were doing music torrenting and stuff.
Yeah.
When you kept that file in your downloader for a little while so other people could download from there. Right now, OpenSea or Atomic Hub is the only server that holds that picture of your $10,000, $100,000 NFT.
Yeah,
So
it's very
take
scary.
that hash and pin it on your own, because if they decide to remove it, you still hold it and it's still up. Otherwise, it can't be gone.
Yeah, so
and that's, yeah, I've seen it happen, and even it's ridiculous because, yeah, it hurts.
of course. So as far as the mutable data, the stuff that you can edit at a later point or can be changed, what are the ways of interacting with that? So is it the original creator can decide to change that? Is it the current holder could decide to change that? Like, what are the possibilities?
It is a bit depending on how it's set in the contract. But for Gnome series, it's only their contract when interacting with the game. There is allowed to change that data. But that also means that, like, they can do a blending. So down the line, I can take this NFT and this NFT and blend together, and now the powers from both come together. But they can update that because it's on their contract on their end. I can't do anything there, but they could have set it so people could put their own. There was a Ethereum actually project that did something like that with stories, that they minted small stories that you bought an NFT, then you send a little comment message, and that then printed itself into the NFT as part of your story. But that was, again, because when you hold the NFT, then it opens a comment field that nobody else can see other than the one holding and owning the NFT. But again, it's not something everyone just does, but it is possible, and that's, again, the most important thing, that, like, it is possible to do, and where we can go with that for the people that really need it, because the majority of people don't need to change their metadata in the NFTs other than hosting their IPFS themselves.
Yeah. We can easily see in the future, though, for different applications that could be very useful. So, for example, say you use an NFT for a real estate title, like your house is an NFT. And then every single time you have a major repair, like you have the roof repaired, you have the boiler or change or whatever, the repair technician interacts with the contract there, and it logs that repair onto the NFT. So then when you transfer the property ownership, you have kind of an immutable record of every single repair that has taken place on that.
That is basically possible if people set it up right, because make the NFT with mutable data and then have uh, the way it's written on the NFT done by a contract that has multi-sig, uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that the repair guy just sends a request or a proposal, which
Mm-hmm.
it's called on Wax, at least it's called a proposal, and that proposal is, I've changed the gutters,
Mm-hmm.
and sent that in, and now the owner of the house, which will be me and my wife, for example, we would have this uh, key, both of us, and now we both need to sign that yes, this proposal got made, and he has now changed the tiles on the house, or the gutters on the house, and uh, we can even pay him when accepting that and putting it into the contract, and
Mm-hmm.
it can pay him at the same time. But of course, that requires that people would take Wax, or a coin on Wax, or EOS, or crypto in general. Um,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of interesting how because recently I just went through the process of home ownership, and there's a big black box of information around a property, and the process for getting that information is quite involved and possibly costly. You have to pay inspectors, you have to go in here, you have to go over some documents, see some disclosures, go back and forth, and there's other things that were not disclosed that come up later, and just there's all this mess of things, which there's a whole industry built around the mess of things that the real estate market is. And just like the terror of interacting with something that could have so many things wrong with it, I can imagine there's a lot of value in shrinking the possibilities of things gone wrong down very quickly, where you can, every time it was inspected, every time anything happened, there's an actual signed addendum to the NFT, and then you get to just you get to just in 5 minutes assess an entire property and its entire history and verify everything just on your computer without having to go interact with all these other costly kind of oracles, as they were.
and definitely industry changer for sure. Also, when we look at the music industry, for that matter, normally people need to have a promoter, have a label company, have a producing company, and all that, just to make music. And um, you know MySpace and YouTube and stuff kind of changed that whole aspect. And suddenly now, with NFTs, you also can control your royalties,
Mm-hmm.
because again, if I make CDs and I sell you a CD, wow, I made $10. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go throw the CD out or give it to a friend or something, and I don't make nothing. Okay. But here, and like, if my music is on my NFTs, then maybe you bought the album, you bought a pack, you got all the songs in the album. You only like four of them, you sell the rest. I still get market fees for the rest of the songs you made, or you sold. So we're breaking the fundamental aspects of the way things are done beforehand, but doing it in a way that, of course, big businesses probably wouldn't like, because again, you said yourself about the land ownership and stuff. There's a whole business built around that, and suddenly we kind of don't need that whole business.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that kind of loses their job there, or need to find something else to do. uh, but like, that's evolution, right? We
of
needed a lot
course.
more people making sure that our horses was good and fed when we were using pause bookies and stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, not to mention the banking system. How many people will need to find out something different to do? Yeah,
Oh
it
yeah,
makes
today we have a banking system where we pay our bank to have our card and that thing, and they don't even hold money in the bank, and they have
mhm.
40 employers or something just sitting at a desk, not doing nothing, but we pay them anyways. That's a beautiful system.
Yeah, I mean, it makes kind of makes one wonder also what the carbon footprint of the banking industry is in terms of just all the electricity spent just having physical locations and ATMs and just all that just sitting there, and that doesn't quite get compared. So let's mention a few of the um, things that NFTs can do with authentication type things. So, like for example, tickets and memberships. Obviously, theoretically, that's a very big thing of like, oh, you sell someone NFT and they get into a special chat room or something, or you sell someone NFT and they can use it to, get into a concert or whatever thing like that. So, do you know much about services and companies or things that right now exist to verify the like NFT ownership in order to do that?
In the real world aspect, not yet. There isn't many. There is a couple of projects that has tried, but they have a bit of a problem, and many of the projects, as far as I'm aware, has tried it on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and has a bit of a problem because you need to do a actual transaction to sign into your wallet on MetaMask and stuff. You cannot just make a view. You need to
Mm-hmm.
interact, and no matter what, it's going to cost you something. Um, and that's a bit of a problem where if you went to do it on Wax or EOS with, for example, the Anchor wallet, which is a great mobile wallet, basically like the MetaMask of EOS.io, for
Mm-hmm.
people that don't know. Um, it allows you to take up like uh, if I go to whatever conference today and they send me the NFT as a membership, I can go in. Just need to show that on the door. They will have a QR code, and I scan it with my Anchor wallet, and it asks me to slide. And as soon as it signs in and recognized, because then it do a request order, then it recognized that that NFT is in my wallet that I just scanned and signed with, it will
Mm-hmm.
open the door.
Just do you know any like
Um,
sites or
we
something to
like
go to find out about
in
that?
beta, we there are a couple of people on
Mm-hmm.
kind of my team and such. There's working to try to get it real world functional. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but like for groups on Telegram or Discord or so on, there are already a lot of them. I have my own little group where you need a little pipe to get in. Otherwise, it mutes you as soon as you get in. It just mutes and deletes your messages if you don't hold that. Um, Stuff like that. It is definitely possible and functional. The missing aspect right now is that the doorkeeper or whatever gets a response back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we kind of tested it with a robot arm. So when you sign, it actually can open like this the door for you as soon as
Mm-hmm.
you slide, and it verifies that you have that NFT. It opens the door for you. Um, but it would be more ideal that the uh, the doorkeeper can get a message on a screen that shows that a thumbs up, something that this is okay, this is okay, this is not verified, or
Mm-hmm.
and that part is missing, but the other part is functional, so it can easily become something. And especially with tickets, as you are coming in on, because football stadium tickets or soccer, or depending on where you're from in the world. But yeah, soccer for the most part, if we are talking US, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then like when you go to the stadium, there's always a guy outside selling tickets, and some of them are probably fake. And that's also an aspect that you get away from with NFTs. That if you know that the creating wallet is whatever, for example, if you know my NFTs that do this to my event is printed under the account DanishCrypto, you then know when you see somebody trying to sell your NFT, that's not created from DanishCrypto. This is a fake.
Yeah.
So we like easily can get away from that because we can track history and stuff. I can send you an NFT and you could see that I got that 2 years ago from somebody else because we can track the history of it, so we can verify things much easier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also, again, a aspect where people need to fully understand that blockchain technology is not anonymous.
Of course.
Uh, the majority of it isn't. There is a couple of currencies out there that actually is, but the majority of things we're doing on here is public knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you mentioned like Telegram bot that would, if you don't have access to something, it mutes you automatically. What are some of your favorite Telegram bot or Discord bot or whatever, like projects that do that right now?
Again, the one the host my own
Mm-hmm.
is done by NFT Sticker Co. The creator
Mm-hmm.
from there made my bot. There is doing it with my own collection.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the best for that kind of aspect is probably Honeycomb. They do it on especially Discord, um, where they do it really good. Uh, we have also done it for Ken Bosak's Discord chat. That's me and my development team that has done that. The developers of bhood.network. Uh, so there is a bridge there. If you hold the first generation membership, you get a special role and so on. Um, there's also stuff like text-based mining in there with enhancers. Um, if you have special NFTs in your wallet and you are really active in Ken Bosak's Discord or
Mm-hmm.
Telegram, you make Ken token for texting in there. In his Telegram, you make Dust as well, also for texting. So there is like just being active in a crypto community, you can make something and get started and uh, yeah, there. I personally have seen Wax as the onboarding space in crypto that we kind of need uh, to breach over to the non as nerdy people. Even though NFTs and games and stuff can kind of be the nerdy part, but crypto and blockchains and that is another level of nerdy
For sure.
stuff. And today it's just really starting to become easy. And I don't know, you probably, since Ken got you on
Mm-hmm.
Wax, you probably made a Wax Cloud wallet.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm using Anchor currently, but yeah.
yeah, great. That's again, but you probably got introduced to that,
Mm-hmm.
and that how was your interaction with the cloud wallet? Even though it's not a
Mm-hmm.
private keys and wires, but like your introduction, here is a wallet, here now you can interact. How was that feeling compared to whatever?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And it's kind of funny because in my experience there's two very distinct camps of, well, there's maybe three of crypto users, and the one is the investor who only ever interacts in something like Coinbase, and then the other is the nerd user who they rarely use crypto, and when they do stuff like, oh, I bootstrap my own node here, or like I did little just something very technical, but like as a fun side thing to do and not like the main life. And then there's people like me who are everyday users of crypto and have been for the better part of a decade. And it's very interesting to see the culture shock between these groups, because they're I've been, I mean, as far like, for example, I've been a heavy Dash user since 2016. And as far as using it for basic payments and stuff, it's extremely easy. And sometimes I jump out of that world and like try to do something with, say, Ethereum or something. I'm like, oh, wow, this is terrible. Like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Or I try to use like Lightning Network type stuff. And it just like the complexities here and there, it's a big shock. So with the Wax experience didn't like surprise me necessarily, because I'm used to the user end of crypto. But it is a contrast between like anytime I try to touch Ethereum, it always ends up being a bad experience for me because of like the complexity of it and the weird user experience of it.
Yeah, DAS is definitely a digital cash. A concept that actually works. The only thing there in my mind is that their privacy layer is flawed, because 1% of their user base uses it.
That's me. And a few other people, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this seems like a good spot to wrap this whole thing up on. Where can people find more about you and the work that you're doing?
Oh, yeah, I'm DanishCrypto on Telegram, at DanishCrypto, exactly as it's spelled here on screen, and at DanishCrypto with big DK, because of Denmark, on Twitter, and uh, bhood.network is my main project website. So that's about it. Yo, there is also I have a Telegram group, also DanishCrypto DK. If I don't answer in private, get a lot of DMs. So
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, well, thanks for being on, and yeah, everyone have a good one.
thanks for having me, and that was a nice. Yeah, we've all been on here for a little over an hour already, so that went fast.
Yeah, good chat.